Dry skin and acne is really, really hard. I say this as someone who has struggled with acne and helped other people with their dry skin and acne. Most acne products that are on the market are not made for people who have dry skin. And this is extremely frustrating because many people do have dry skin and pimples. And especially if you are someone who has struggled with severe acne and you've gone on Accutane, what does that do? That causes dry skin and you have acne. If you're dry, what are you supposed to do? Traditional logic says, let's look at the main ingredients that we know treat acne. We're talking about benzoyl peroxide, salicylic acid, retinoids, sulfur, all excellent ideas. But unfortunately, most if not all of these dry out the skin. Benzoyl peroxide, very drying. Salicylic acid, oil soluble. Literally, it gets rid of the oil in our skin, which can exacerbate dryness. Sulfur, drying. Even retinoids, you can go through retinization in which your skin starts to get red and peel. So what is an acne-prone person who's dealing with the dryness supposed to do? Well, baby, I got you. These are some of the products that I recommend most often for people who have dry skin. And some of these have truly transformed these skincare routines of people who struggle with this. Because if they are constantly going to the store, buying things for acne, but it's making their dryness worse, that could irritate their skin and cause more problems overall. It's actually shocking to me how much some of these things and these simple swaps have helped. And it's by understanding the anatomy of our skin and how these products work within it so that you can work with your dry skin instead of against it, but still deal with those pesky breakouts. When starting with cleansing, this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make. They go to the store and they look for an acne cleanser. And that sounds super logical, right? You want to look for a cleanser that says good for acne. But a lot of those products, again, have these main ingredients like benzoyl peroxide that can be very drying on the skin. And if that's going to make the dryness worse, then we're really not helping the problem, right? There is literally one benzoyl peroxide wash that I can even recommend for dry skin and acne, and it's still not my favorite, but what I actually recommend are things such as these that technically are not labeled as acne safe, but let me explain. This one is the Panoxyl Creamy Wash. So this is a benzoyl peroxide wash that is made for drier skin types, but I wouldn't go as far as to say that this is great for dry acne-prone skin. Yes, this will annihilate breakouts, but it could also really dry and irritate the face of someone who is dry. Think about what dry skin even is. It is inherently a damaged skin barrier. Our skin is made up of multiple layers, and on top of those layers sits an acid mantle. This acid mantle is literally fats and oils that are supposed to keep hydration in our skin. Our skin has ceramides and cholesterol and squalene, and that is all supposed to stay in there. But for people who have dry skin, one, that barrier is usually damaged, and two, it's usually missing some of those ceramides, some of that squalene, some of those nourishing oils. And so if you go in with something that's gonna strip the oils away even more, it's just gonna make the problem worse. So this is one that I recommend. I would actually recommend this for the chest and back of people who have dry skin. This is excellent for the body, but I would say that this can be a lot for the face. They have a 4% and a 10%. If you have dry skin, I would only recommend the 4. This is like $13 and it is a great choice. But what I actually highly recommend are these. This right here is the 3 Ships Aloe Amino Acid Cleanser, and this right here is the Pacifica Vegan Ceramide. What is shocking about this is that there is nothing acne about this. There is no active ingredient that's going to annihilate breakouts. This is literally a fragrance-free ceramide cleanser. So why would someone use this if it's not labeled for acne? Because we have other things inside of this routine that are going to target the acne, but for the cleansing, we just want to make sure that we are cleaning the face. We don't want to overstrip or over-damage that barrier. We want to build that barrier back. And this is where this comes in. You know, if you're cleansing once or twice a day, the last thing you want to do is destroy that skin barrier even more. And this is going to do the opposite. This is going to help repair it. So even though this doesn't have an acne active inside of it, this is excellent for dry skin. It's not going to irritate acne, and it helps to replenish some of those ceramides, some of that moisture. Not to mention, again, sensitive skin type approved, fragrance-free, dermatologist tested, and it's a purple little bottle with butterflies on it. It's so cute! This is one of my favorite Pacifica products, hands down, but especially if you're struggling with dry skin, this is going to be a lifesaver. And this is what I would recommend for day-to-day use. Now, if you do have dry skin, but you are looking to exfoliate, that's where something like this cleanser comes in. Now, just a warning, this cleanser does have fragrance in it, which is why it's not my top pick. That's why I would recommend something like this over this. But if you're looking for something that is mildly exfoliating, that is dry skin safe, this one from 3 Ships is it. 3 Ships was basically made by these girls in Canada. I think they were engineers, and they were like, why does luxury, sustainable sustainable beauty cost so much money. And so they decided to package things in these little paper containers and make these glass bottles that are more eco-friendly. Again, nothing is carbon neutral and 100% environmentally friendly, right? But they're trying, which I respect. And this formula specifically has things like jojoba esters. This has green tea. This is actually made for dry, dehydrated skin. And if you have dry skin and acne, one of the main components of acne is that there is this bacteria and inflammation that's stuck under the skin. So gentle exfoliation can help remove that top layer of skin and allow that bacteria to interface with air and therefore die or kind of escape. But again, if we have dry skin, we don't want to overstrip it. So while I don't recommend this every day, if you're okay with bergamot oil, this is a really great cleanser. It is very gentle, it is acne friendly, and this is a wonderful, wonderful option. They also have an enzyme cleanser. I would highly recommend an enzyme cleanser for acne. Enzyme cleansers are a little bit more gentle than something like an alpha hydroxy acid, or definitely more gentle than a beta hydroxy acid. And when you're dry, you want to take things slow. You want to support the skin barrier while still treating the acne bacteria. That's why it is such a challenge. Now, speaking of exfoliation, there are two exfoliants that are used in professional clinics that are a slam dunk. Both of these are from Dermalogica, and one of them is actually brand new. This right here is the Daily Microfoliant, and although you technically could use this daily, I don't recommend using this daily if you have dry skin. This is a rice exfoliant, but it also has some alpha hydroxy acids, and a lot of people use it wrong. It's like this powder, and so, whoa! I spilled the powder everywhere. Most people put the excuse me. Oh my God. Look at this. There's literally powder everywhere. If somebody walks in here with no context, they are going to think something very different. Anywho, a lot of people just take this powder, they mix it with water in their hand and shove it on their face, and they're like, oh my God, feels like I'm rubbing rocks into my skin. Yeah, that's not how you use this. You actually have to put this into like a little cup, mix it with water, and whip it up with a brush. It kind of becomes this egg white texture. It's very fluffy and extremely gentle on the skin. And that is how this product should be used. Now, this does have rice, again, those smooth grains, so it gives you kind of a physical sensation, but it's really kind of like an ocean or a sea foam that really just helps to exfoliate the skin without overly stripping. And this is created by the Dermal Institute, literally a skin education establishment that helps people understand skin and actually trains estheticians. And you probably know Dermalogica from a lot of aesthetic offices because it is one of the best professional lines out there. Now, some products are hit and miss, but this one is a slam dunk if you use it right. Now, this is the one that I have recommended to most people who have dry skin and acne, but that's because this one didn't yet exist. This is brand new from Dermalogica, and this is called the Daily Milkfoliant. This is literally a calming version of this. And while this is gentle enough that most people could use it every day, I don't think that someone with dry skin should. This, on the other hand, is a bit different. This has oats, this has coconut, it is a vegan milkfoliant, and this one, even when you whip it up, you kind of prepare it in the same way. This one is almost more viscous. It's a little bit more slimy, and that sliminess is literally the beta glucans, the ingredients that are nourishing and hydrating to the skin, and they are more calming. And so if you do have sensitized skin or drier skin types, this is what you should absolutely go for. This is still an exfoliant. If you really, really, really have dry skin that's like flaking off, I could see you using this daily underneath a sunscreen, just making sure that you're, removing any of those dry patches, especially if you're someone who's like, on Accutane and your face is peeling off. But you also want to make sure that you're hydrating and protecting from the sun. It's very difficult to exfoliate every day, and especially for dry skin, you do not want to overstrip that barrier, but this is one that lends itself well to that. Now, do be careful. I believe this has a little bit of a fragrance ingredient inside of it, so just be aware of that, because if you have dry skin and a fragrance allergy and acne, then you get super fucked. And again, you'll still be good with something like this. It is a bumpy ride. It is along the side of a cliff, and if you're gonna get on that train, you need to make sure that you have a damn good conductor. So hi, I'm here to be your dry skin acne train conductor and help guide the way, because I know it can be rough, but buckle up, bitches, because I got you. But let's say that you're done exfoliating. Some people like to use a toner or an essence. Now, essences are great for dry skin. The one that I really love is from Yule, but there's nothing about this that really lends itself excellently to acne. The Yule one is a great one because it won't exacerbate acne, but it's not my favorite. Whereas there is actually something created by Face Reality, which is an acne clinic that is made for dry skin and acne. This right here is the Moisture Balance Toner for dehydrated skin. And some of the ingredients in here can be a little bit surprising because there is water, alcohol, and witch hazel, but this is a wonderful toner that does help to rebalance the skin and allow something like your moisturizer and the actives that we're going to be putting in this to penetrate deeper. This is wonderful, and Face Reality reality is this acne clinic. They've been around for like 16 years. They started in San Leandro, and they are basically a group of estheticians that focuses on treating acne. And they are wonderful, hands down. A lot of people in our private Acne Warriors Facebook group have seen great help with them. And even if you're not in the Bay Area, they have an acne certified like specialist training so that estheticians can actually learn about acne. And yes, we're talking dry skin and acne. This one is wonderful. It does have sodium hyaluronate, which is that hyaluronic acid that binds to the water in here. They have proline, they have antioxidants, they have ferment filtrates, and this is extraordinarily gentle to the skin. It's a really beautiful formula. And if you have dry skin and acne, this can help. Now, you don't need a toner in your routine. Like, you don't need a toner in an essence. All you really need is a good cleanser, a treatment, and then a sunscreen. But if you're going to use one, this is absolutely it, especially if you're using it after something like this. Then we gotta talk treatments. You see, retinoids are the gold standard in dermatology. We're talking our tretinoin, we're talking our retin A or our retin A micro, but as you know, that can literally cause retinization and make the dryness and the redness worse. And if you have dry skin and acne, and then you're becoming a flake monster, what are you supposed to do? I remember when I first started using tretinoin, I was a flake monster and I had oily skin. Can you imagine what that would do for someone who has dry skin and acne? And that's why using things that are still in this vitamin A family, but that are more gentle, is going to be key. This one right here is adapalene gel. Adapalene gel is a synthetic retinoid, and this is actually more gentle than other retinoids, but it seems to be just as effective. If you have wrinkles, if you have acne, and yes, if you have dry skin, you could spot this on, or you could just use this in a very small amount all over. And you can put this on before or after your moisturizer. So you could even put your moisturizer on first and then this if you're trying to graduate up. This is available over the counter. It's one of my favorite products. It's literally like $7. This works so well. And if you have sensitive skin and acne or dry skin and acne, this is phenomenal because it's that main ingredient that literally helps with all of the reasons that acne exists, but it doesn't destroy dry skin even further. Now, one other thing that's a bit surprising, but that has been a phenomenal addition to my routine even, is this eye cream. But I don't recommend putting this on your eyes. This is the Smooth Landing Grand Active Retinoid and Vitamin E Balm from Versed. This is literally a balm, so it is like a thick texture, but it has a retinoid in it. I would actually call this this is like a Vaseline plus a retinoid. And why Vaseline or Selimo Jelly hasn't come out with a Vaseline plus retinoid, I don't know, but Versed freaking did. This is amazing, and a little goes a long way. But if you are someone who likes slugging, or you are looking for a Grand Active retinoid that helps with all those causes of acne, but that has that balmy texture, so it really locks in moisture and hydration, this is going to be it. The main ingredients in here are shea butter, sunflower oil, and triglycerides, all great for skin. You've also got jojoba. And again, you can use this underneath your eyes, you can use this all over your face, which is personally what I do in my routine. Now, if you wanted to, you could also mix adapalene gel in with, Selimo jelly or Vaseline jelly. That'll kind of give you the same consistency. But this is a really awesome, very portable, kind of travel-friendly addition. And if you want to use it by the eyes, you can, but you can literally put it all over your face. Speaking of things that you may want to consider putting all over your face, is this from The Ordinary. This is the salicylic acid anhydrous solution. And we gotta talk about salicylic. Salicylic acid is one of the most commonly used ingredients for acne-prone skin, but remember, it's oil soluble. So it literally dissolves the oil in the skin and it can make dry skin worse. And if you do have dry skin and acne, a salicylic cleanser or like a salicylic moisturizer, it might be too much. Now, where this is different is that this from The Ordinary is literally salicylic acid in squalane. And remember, squalane is basically almost identical to that oil, squalene, that our skin naturally produces that makes up that acid mantle, that skin barrier that is damaged in dry skin. So now we're giving the skin salicylic acid, but in a form of an oil that replenishes our skin barrier. This is amazing, and this is one of my favorite dry skin products from The Ordinary. You can still use it if you have oily skin, but this definitely gives you that lightweight oil feel. And if you want something for all over the face and you know that your skin reacts well to salicylic acid, it just dries you the f out. This right here, it's like $7 to $10. It is a beautiful, beautiful formula. It gives you kind of a nice glow, and this does have that main ingredient that really helps to exfoliate the skin and get rid of that acne bacteria. And then we got to talk about moisturizers. If you have dry skin, moisturizers are probably your best friend. You are probably constantly slathering yourself in a moisturizer, right? But unfortunately, if you go to the store and buy an acne-prone moisturizer, you're kind of running into the same situation here, where you're getting a moisturizer that has benzoyl peroxide, or a moisturizer that has salicylic acid. So yes, those active ingredients will treat the breakout, then it's gonna make the dry skin worse because the moisturizer isn't strong enough. And that is why I am a huge advocate of kind of mixing your own. This is is pretty much as DIY as I get, and it's because you want to make sure that you're using the right ingredients and the right products that actually work together, that don't cause any scary chemical reactions on your face, that don't ruin the stability. But these are two that I have tested that are amazing for dry skin. If you don't have acne and you just have dry skin, then first off, why are you watching this video? But also, these will work. But if you have acne and dry skin, these are some of the best, and you can actually mix in an active to make these work for you. So to start off, this is the Ceramedics Natural Ceramide Therapy Balm. This is a super thick, hydrating formula, and this is basically a vegan version of CeraVe. If you like CeraVe, continue using it. It's a nice fragrance-free option, but this stuff, oh, she thick. And this is a dry skin's best friend. This works super well, but again, this is something that doesn't actually have a whole bunch of ingredients that are going to kill acne. And that is where something like this comes in. This right here is the beta-hydroxy acid from the Inky List, aka salicylic acid, and this right here is the mandelic acid and hyaluronic acid. Now, The Ordinary also has a lactic plus hyaluronic acid, but I am fresh out, and that is what I would actually recommend. And you see, what are these? Well, this is an AHA and this is a BHA. These are exfoliating. They help with acne, they help with exfoliation, but for dry skin, they can be too much on their own. And the reason why I love these, specifically this one from The Ordinary, is because you can mix them in with these moisturizers. Now, the reason that I really highly recommend the lactic acid and hyaluronic acid from The Ordinary is because hyaluronic acid is hydrating, and lactic acid, being an AHA, holds on to water. So if you're really struggling with dryness, an AHA is going to be a better option for you than a BHA, even though a BHA is more targeted towards acne. Now, there are both here because I trust that you know your skin and that you can choose what's right for it as long as you have good information to work off of. And if you get either of these, you can literally mix these in with a moisturizer and make it work. Now, I don't recommend putting these directly on the face because it could be too much, but if you do have something like this, woo, Ceramedics, I caught that bitch. If you have something like the Ceramedics or this, the peptide moisturizer from the Inky List, it's really easy to mix these in. This is one of my favorites. This is the peptide moisturizer, and you see how it has this little pump top? This moisturizer is hydrating, it feels lightweight, but it really locks in moisture. And actually, if you have mature skin, so like you have adult acne and dry skin, this is phenomenal because the peptides in here are very, very lifting and skin supportive. But do you see how this almost has this little top where you can add stuff in? Let's just say I'm taking this mandelic acid or I'm taking my lactic acid from The Ordinary. You can literally put a couple of drops on the top of this, literally pump this out, and you mix it together right there. And this becomes a beautiful hydrating moisturizer that actually has that targeted exfoliant that's going to hydrate but exfoliate and then hopefully lift and help support the skin. This is one of my favorites, the Inky List Peptide Moisturizer. Bomb diggity. Make sure that you get it in this top. Another one that has a really good top like this is Skin Fix. They have their Barrier Repair. It's blue. That is another excellent one to do this with. And what you're going to want to mix in is preferably the lactic acid plus HA from The Ordinary because it's hydrating, AHA. You could also do the mandelic plus hyaluronic acid, or if you're feeling really risky and you know your skin likes salicylic, right here, the beta hydroxy acid from the Inky List. This is a great one. It's inexpensive. It works. I like this one. This is perfect for under makeup and every day, or if you have mature skin and need a little bit of lifting. But if you are just dry as the Sahara Desert and it is flaking and you're like, whew, am I even on Accutane because my skin is acting like it? That's when you're gonna wanna go with something super thick like this. And while we're on the topic of mandelic acid, let's not forget about spot treatments, specifically this from the Inky List. This is brand new, but this is the mandelic acid treatment. It's meant for acne and actually for dark spots and hyperpigmentation. But what's different about this is that not only does it have this AHA, this bitter almond-derived hydrating exfoliant, but it's also got glycerin and retinol in it. So this retinol, again, gold standard in dermatology, part of that vitamin A family, amazing for acne-prone skin, but it's also got glycerin, so this is hydrating. And if you're someone who just cannot handle exfoliation in any capacity, spot treating is a great way to go. You're not going to prevent new breakouts from happening. You're only going to be treating the existing ones, but this is one of the best ways to do it. And another thing that I love, 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 love for all acne-prone skin, but especially dry skin, are these spot treatments, these little pimple patches. Pimple patches are great because number one, they help you stop picking. Then number two, they can have things like salicylic acid in them so that they are, targeted for acne, but you're actually putting them directly on the pimple. You're not smacking them all over your face. And that means if you can't handle the dryness of salicylic acid, these give you that targeted little punch of salicylic acid directly to that pimple. They also help to get any gunk out of that pimple and kill it. And then you're not doing it to the entire face. Now, what are the differences between hydrocolloids and pimple patches? I recommend getting the ones with salicylic acid. Some of my favorites are from Curology. The other ones are the Spot Check from Sandra Lee MD, made by Dr. Pimple Popper. The Peace Out acne dots are amazing. I've even heard that Starface has salicylic acid ones, which I haven't tried. As long as it's a salicylic acid pimple patch and it stays on your face, then you're good to go. Even Yes too has some pimple patches that I don't actually hate. Not my favorite, but they're not the worst. I really love the Sandra Lee MD ones, really love the Curology ones. I mean, if you feel bad about your face, Peace Out just makes you happy. It comes in this super cool flip top. I mean, who doesn't love that? I love pimple patches. They make me feel fancy. Zitstica has the Killa ones. Those are slightly different because they have those micro needles in them. But if you want something that has salicylic acid, these three are the way to go. And we know that SPF is our BFF, but if you have acne, a lot of sunscreens break you the fuck out. It is literally one of the worst things because we know that sunscreen helps prevent skin cancer, helps prevent collagen degradation, helps prevent our acne from becoming even worse when it comes to scarring and hyperpigmentation. But then these greasy, lotiony formulas irritate the skin, they burn our blemishes, and they break us out. What the fuck are we supposed to do? Right here, my babies, this is what we go for. We've actually done an entire video on the best sunscreens for acne-prone skin, and I'd recommend you watch that. But if you have dry skin, it can be hard. And I have to say, I don't think there is a perfect, ultra hydrating, thick, balmy sunscreen that is acne-prone skin safe. I do not know of one. But I have two runner-ups that are really, really freaking good that work just as good as you can get. And these are acne skin safe. The first one is from Zitstica. Zitstica is this brand that is all about zits and about pimples and helping with them. This right here is a serum sunscreen, so it is a little bit more lightweight, but this doesn't dry out the skin and this doesn't cause breakouts. So you could use this under a thick moisturizer. If you're so dry that you use a thick moisturizer every day, you can use this sunscreen underneath it. And this protects the skin. This is an SPF 50, and it helps with that UVA, UVB protection, preventing pimples from turning into dark marks, preventing pimples from turning into even worse scarring, and it is acne-prone skin safe. Now, this is a little bit pricier, and again, it's a serum formula. If you want something that's a little bit more hydrating, we have to go back to face reality. This right here is the Daily SPF 30 lotion, and this is literally a sunscreen made for people with acne. This is phenomenal. It goes on super sheer. This is an organic / chemical blend, and you see how it's a little bit thicker? You know, again, this isn't necessarily like a moisturizer, but it is a more hydrating and moisturizing formula. Now, I have oily prone skin, and even I love this, but this isn't mattifying. If you want a mattifying sunscreen, if you're oily and watching this, then hi, way to go for being a skintellectual. But like for me, I use the Dual Defender from Sandra Lee MD, and then I also use the Murad, the mattifying sunscreen. You would never want to use that for dry skin though, but do you see how beautiful that is? This lends itself well to all acne-prone skin types, but especially dry skin. And if you can get your hands on this, your acne-prone skin will not be disappointed. Now, do you need all of these products and do you need to use every single one of these every single day? Absolutely fucking not. Remember, the best thing you can do is get a really good cleanser, a really good sunscreen, and then a treatment option. But if you're looking for something that is just right for you, or if you want to focus on something like, you know, a gentle salicylic acid versus something like a retinoid or a retinoid balm, then these are the options. And this is kind of like a hot list of the best products for dry acne-prone skin. If you even want to copy the description and like save it to your phone or take a screenshot, you could reference that the next time you go to Target or the next time you go to Sephora or the store. And that way, when you're faced with different options, you can say, okay, this one's going to be better for me because it is a little bit more creamy versus something like this that I shouldn't be using every day. Remember that while dry skin and acne can be tough, it's usually because a lot of the people who are spreading information about acne don't have dry skin in mind. But I hope that this is kind of your guide, your cheat sheet. I hope that you've enjoyed this train ride and that I've been a good conductor to help you understand exactly what's going on with your skin and how to work with it instead of against it. So do remember to stay hydrated, both orally and especially topically, especially if you're dry. Always remember to reapply that SPF, again, highly recommend this one, and be beautiful both inside and out. I love you and I cannot wait to see you and your beautiful dry skin and your flakes and your pimples or your non-flaky, non-pimply skin, because one of these ended up being perfect for you, in this next video. Love you guys. Bye.